perspective drawing itself deserves a complete course. But now I'd like to give you an overview, so in this lesson we are going to look into some typical applications, the 2-point and 3-point perspectives. Note that I won't be perfectly accurate and detailed because it would take too much time, but using principles I explain here, you will be able to create more believable 3D objects in your sketches. In perspective, we have an important straight line, the horizon line. It's up to you where you place it vertically in your picture frame, but it will have an impact on the final image. I'm going to use a cube to demonstrate some of the key terms of perspective. If you look at the cube from front, it looks like a square. If you rotate the cube around its vertical axis, it will look something like this. Now if we move our position upwards, looking down at the cube, we will need to know the rules of perspective to draw it accurately. First, I draw the closest vertical edge of the cube. In perspective, edges parallel with the ground follow a rule. They must meet somewhere on the horizon line in one single point on each side. These single points are called the vanishing points. Let me put these two vanishing points here and there. By the way, this is the reason it's called 2-point perspective, because there are two vanishing points. These two vanishing points have a certain relationship, so you cannot just place them anywhere. But it's an advanced topic. This topic is discussed in detail in my perspective drawing course. Now I draw guidelines for the horizontal edges. I know that they are start here at the end of this vertical edge and go towards the vanishing point like this. Similarly on the other side. Another rule of 2-point perspective is that every vertical line is parallel to each other. So I can draw the other two vertical edges on the sides parallel to the existing vertical edge. I put them somewhere here to get the feeling of a cube. Now I have these corners, so I can draw new guidelines from here as well. Finally, I redraw the visible edges of the cube and we have an object in 3D. Now let's take an example for the 3-point perspective. This will be my picture frame. This would be the middle, but this time I shift the horizon line downwards, somewhere here. this will be the closest edge, and I put the two vanishing points on the horizon line here and there. As you can see, a vanishing point doesn't have to be inside your picture plane. These edges converge to this direction. These ones converge to this direction. When the horizon line is not at the middle, vertical lines also start to converge towards the third vanishing point. It is usually far away. Let me put it over here. I mark the bottom corners of this, let's say, building. And I draw the guidelines to the third vanishing point. I emphasize the outlines. I erase all the unnecessary strokes. And we have a dramatic look of this 3D object. Now you don't necessarily need to draw these construction lines. If you know the rules, you just need to imagine that edges converge to a single point on the horizon. Plus, remember, sketching is not about accuracy, so you don't need to be perfect. Good enough is perfectly fine. For example, this object is not perfect from perspective point of view. Guidelines don't meet in a single vanishing point, but it's okay because the viewer won't realize this as long as you are close to the accurate one. Alright, so now you know how to draw straight lines, you know the basics of perspective, and you can draw some 2D and 3D shapes. It's time to bend these straight lines because natural objects build up from curved lines.